letter first is an email, but did you send an email to the school board and Superintendent Dr. Michael Garvey dated September 17, 2023, wherein you attached a document entitled Plan of Improvement Conclusion Report?
I did.
And can you and I just agree that in your Plan of Improvement Conclusion Report, that you had indicated your belief that you had completed all the areas outlined in the plan, correct?
I had completed aspects of each of the categories, yes.
Well, and you noted by a check mark and all caps bold complete, you were telling the board and Dr. Garvey that you believed you had completed all of the sections of the PIP, correct?
Correct, and I provided artifacts and evidence of meeting those steps.
Then you received, after you sent that on September 17th, you received Exhibit 11, or tab 11, which was the third memo you received from Superintendent Garvey, correct?
Correct. September 17th, I submitted what we just talked about. Had no response from board or Dr. Garvey, and then got October 2nd.
Okay. And understood. So was it clear to you after reading the October 2nd memo that your supervisor, Dr. Garvey, did not concur with your belief that you had completed all steps outlined under PIP?
Can we talk about that date, please?
Sure, let's try it again. I'll do it easier. Whenever you got the document that is under tab 11, was it clear to you at that point that your supervisor, Dr. Garvey, did not share your view as expressed in your September 17 email and attachment, that you had completed all aspects?
The letter indicates it, we never discussed it.
Okay, and I hear you. You requested this public hearing, correct?
I did.
Let me just look at my notes. I may be done or almost done, so just bear with me.
October 2nd is significant.
Okay.
Mr. Peterson, there is no question before you right now, so can you wait until someone asks you a question?
Yeah, definitely.
You talked about teaching health classes in the past. This is in reference to some of your testimony that your employer elicited. Was prior to coming to Raymond, you had taught health classes, correct?
Health classes is a broad term. It's a one-day, once-a-year session.
Okay. And you had taught that in other school districts,
Yes.
right? And did you do that in your role as a teacher or as an administrator or both?
Administrator.
Okay.
Also.
So what other school district were you an administrator in that you taught, the boys section of human growth and development while you were an administrator?
The Oak Creek Franklin School District.
Okay. And why at Oak Creek Franklin were you as a principal? Let's strike that. What was your position there?
Principal.
Okay. Why were you as a principal at Oak Creek Franklin teaching human growth and development?
It was a large 4th grade boys class at the time.
Was there not another qualified teacher to teach it?
The other teacher was a male teacher, and it was a large class of boys.
Okay.
So to help crowd control, you're combining boys from both classrooms, both 4th grade sections, because you're separating girls from boys. And that year there were lots of boys in both sections.
Okay.
So
I hear that.
the class was beyond manageable.
Got it. So what I'm hearing you say is, while there was a male teacher to teach it, you were there largely because of the number of students.
Yes.
Okay, I got you. Did the Raymond School District, we'll strike that, did you teach the boys section of human growth and development in your first contract year for the Raymond School District?
Yes.
And did you do so in your second contract year?
Yes.
Okay. Was there another male teacher in either school year that taught in the Raymond School District?
Yes.
Okay. Is there a reason why you taught it versus some other male teacher?
I'm a fourth grade teacher by nature.
Okay.
And the other male teachers were upper elementary teachers or a high-end teacher. Elementary schools don't have many male teachers.
Right. You referenced in your testimony a conversation that you had with Superintendent Garvey along the lines of him referencing about a teacher, a 35-year teacher. Do you recall that testimony?
Yes.
Did he tell you what his personal relationship was with that 35-year veteran teacher?
I don't recall.
He didn't tell you that it was one of his best friends?
Objection, I think you're going to testify here.
No, I'm trying to refresh recollection. And I'm cross-examining.
I don't recall him sharing that information.
Okay. Do you recall what the circumstances were that we'll strike that. Did he describe for you what the factual circumstances were that led to that 35-year veteran teacher leaving? I don't want you to relay them because they might be something that
You want me to answer if there's additional details, but not share them.
Did he share what the circumstances were of that teacher and what that teacher did or allegedly did that led to the teacher leaving?
I don't recall specific reasons.
Okay, those are all the questions I have. I know you're too.
I'm sorry.
Haslam, any redirect?
Yes, absolutely. So let's start, I guess, first. I think maybe there's something we need to clarify here. When Ms. Lubinsky was asking you about a claim you filed, and there's also a demand letter, correct?
Yes.
Two things. Those are two separate things that were filed, correct? We're not filed. The claim was filed.
The board
letter.
the schools.
Wait, okay. It's getting late. They're all getting a little sloppy. Let's wait to answer until the question is asked. And let's wait to ask the second question until after the question is answered.
I saw there was some confusion, perhaps, with the terms demand letter and filing a complaint. Is it correct that you filed a complaint and that you also, your attorney also, sent a demand letter? Is that correct?
Right.
Those happened on two separate dates, correct?
Right.
I think there was also some confusion over the term disagree with. Let's talk about the HYA report first. The HYA report, is that a scientific study?
Could you define scientific study? There's a lot of confusion around the HYA report,
Let's first, I guess, turn to Ms. Lubinsky's binder. Turn to tab 5. It's paginated. Yeah, page 2.
I thought about your question. Is it a scientific study? I haven't answered.
Answer it, please.
Okay. I would say it's not a scientific study because it was there was no matrix, there was no frequency of responses tabulated. I have no idea how the report was compiled, did one person say one thing, or did multiple people say things? What was the context of the room? Was the reporter reporting all of the information of every individual and then summarizing?
Can you please turn to the second page of the fifth tab?
Selection process at the top, or one more? Yes.
Process, participation, description of districts.
Okay. Yep.
The very bottom is a paragraph. Please read it.
The last paragraph starts with "it should."
Correct.
It should be emphasized that the data is not a scientific sampling, nor should they necessarily be viewed as representing the majority opinion of the respective groups to which they are attributed. Items are included if, in the consultant's judgment, they warranted the board's attention.
So is this saying, do you think this is about, is it possible that this just represents one person's, that a statement just represents one person's view rather than a broader, greater view of things?
Objection.
Do you think that this paragraph is saying that the things you see in this report aren't a majority? Is that what this paragraph is saying?
That's what that paragraph.
I'll object if the document speaks for itself.
Attorney Haslam, the document speaks for itself. Let's move on.
Are there other problems you identified with the HYA report, Jeff?
Yes.
Tell me about that.
The focus groups were intentionally divided between veteran teachers and new teachers. I don't think there was wide participation in a lot of the groups. The representation about the staff divide, I followed up with a person who attended one of those groups, and the only, this is a legal term, conjecture she could make was a conversation between upper elementary teachers and lower elementary teachers, not veteran teachers and younger teachers, or new teachers and new teachers. There also, again, was individuals who had one-on-one with the report writer, and then there were groups of people. There's a survey reference multiple times that had no controls to it, and never had a report to show the survey had this many results. And actually, there's a document that says that, but there is no survey that I can see as part of this report. It's referenced, but
So you don't know what the survey asked, what the questions were?
no, I didn't receive it.
Please turn to our exhibits and go to exhibit number 16. The top of this is entitled the We Act Region 7, the header on this one. Yes, the screeching noise that happened last time. Are you there, Jeff?
Yes,
Do you recognize this?
I recognize this.
Can you tell me what this document is?
This document is the teachers union did a survey during the interview process of moving from an interim search to a permanent part-time superintendent search.
Now, was this survey done in a setting that was anonymous, do you know?
I'm not part of that union organization. I have been a member of the teachers union. I have been a union leader in other buildings, and they typically try to be very scientifically based in how they tabulate the results.
If you turn to the second page of that document, what do you see here on the second page? Generally speaking, you need to read it. Generally speaking.
There's a great frequency of responses in certain categories.
So is this page telling you the specific survey questions?
Yes.
Is this something the HYA report had?
No, I have no idea.
Have you seen those in any of the disclosures of the HYA report?
The HY report survey choices?
Yes, correct.
I don't know. That's actually a big conversation. I've asked for them multiple times.
Do you have any other issues with the HYA report that you would like to share and elaborate on rather than just answering a yes or no question?
I had attended all the board meetings during that time. I think it was a complete understanding from the constituents, the taxpayers, and the teaching staff that the HYA report was going to develop a superintendent's profile based on feedback that staff members, community members, and community leaders provided in what they were looking for in their next superintendent. It was not meant to be an evaluation of the principal. Again, it doesn't follow the model of board policy on how you evaluate a principal.
Now, let's turn to the investigation report again. Was that a survey of a lot of people? Were there a lot of people involved in that investigation that were interviewed by the investigator?
Okay, first of all, you're talking about the Bulow Matter investigation?
Correct.
Okay, then my objection is foundation. He didn't conduct the investigation.
When you read the Bulow Matter report, you've read the Bulow Matter report, correct?
Yes.
Does it mention a lot of people who responded to it, or just a few?
It's a very small object.
I'm going to object to the document speaks for itself. Asking a witness to characterize it is not for
I'm laying the foundation here.
Okay, you guys, it is after 11 o'clock.
Doesn't matter.
I understand that there are some arguments that are trying to be made. Please do not use the late hour to revisit a number of different things that the board has already heard. If we are here to talk about something new or something that needs to be addressed that was addressed on Prof, great. Let's get there and let's get there quickly. It's been a long night so far. We've got a lot more ahead of us.
I believe that was addressed on the process. I just want to ask a simple question of how many people did you see were interviewed by the investigator when you read that report?
I want to say 3.5 to 4.
Please turn to our exhibit, number 15.
Okay, I need to be heard on this. Does this relate to something I asked about at Cross? Because we're not going through new territory. This is, you're on redirect right now. I haven't objected to it, so it's in evidence.
The board has it.
Where are we going?
How many people have showed support for you?
The attorney has it. You don't want to ask that question. I'm sure that it's not everyone in Exhibit 15.
I'll save it.
I'm sure there are more.
I'll save it for closing.
Okay.
I think I'm done here.
Okay. Recross?
I have nothing further.
Okay. I got a couple of board questions. Do you have others? Send them my way.
I'm not sure she just specials.
Mr. Peterson, of the board members who are present here tonight, how many of them were on the board at the time you were hired in 2021? Do you recall?
1.
1?
20.
Yeah, is it? And what about the number of board members who were on the board at the time you were appointed interim superintendent?
3. We had some interesting filling positions and elections and appointments. So.
The timing of the progress update number 3, the October 2nd, was that received after you were already on administrative leave?
It was received several days after I was on leave, and even the occurrences happened when I wasn't in the building. That were referenced.
What do you mean the occurrences?
I am being reminded that I need to. I could have stopped the staff from a silent protest or showing their dissatisfaction with board actions. That I wasn't in the building. I didn't know what was happening. I don't know how I could have influenced the staff.
Okay. Any other questions, board members? Okay. Attorney Haslam, any other witnesses? Mr. Peterson, you're okay.
No other witnesses.
Anything else in terms of this?
No.
Okay. Closing arguments? Do you want a few minutes?
No.
Okay. Bring Lubinsky.
Thank you. This is a non-renewal hearing. You've been told that Mr. Peterson is an at-will employee for purposes of this decision. Thus, you need not have any reason. The law in Wisconsin is clear. An at-will employee can be terminated in this case of non-renewal for any reason or no reason at all, as long as it's not a discriminatory reason or an illegal reason. We presented to you sufficient, substantial evidence that in the eyes of Superintendent Dr. Mike Garvey, that Mr. Peterson has not performed his job to the satisfaction of Dr. Garvey. I find it important for the board to keep in mind that the variance between the concerns over his performance and Mr. Peterson's response thereto is great. I find it important that the board consider that every decision's not the right word, I apologize, it's late. Every event that has happened that's culminated with respect to Mr. Peterson's performance and why we're here has been somebody else's fault. Bulow got it wrong. HYA got it wrong. Dr. Garvey got it wrong. They all must not know what they're doing. I would submit to you that I think the much more likely scenario is that it is Mr. Peterson who may have wonderful qualities about him in certain respects. Engaging with students, some or all of the things that the individual teachers came forward. I'm sure, like anyone, that Mr. Peterson has strengths and weaknesses. And we haven't been here. Dr. Garvey has not gone on the road and said he's not great with students, or he's not engaging with students, and other things. So I think the divide is the real problem. For an employee to make improvement, they must understand that improvement is needed. Stated perhaps a little differently, when an employee has been provided information from a neutral investigator, from HYA, who is engaging with staff, from their supervisor, and to email to their supervisor and the board that I've completed it. Board members, that's the problem. The problem is, Mr. Peterson does not believe he needs to improve. And I would submit to you that when an employee believes they have satisfied their employer's objectives, and yet their employer and their supervisor says that they haven't, that is the time to part ways. We are recommending that you not review Mr. Peterson's contract for the performance reasons that we've articulated, and for the simple fact that Mr. Peterson does not acknowledge, in fact, the opposite is true. He believes his performance is perfect. That's the time to put this. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, board. Thank you, audience. Mr. Peterson was hired.
Did we pull that mic up?
Looks like
Test.
When Mr. Peterson was hired to be principal of Raymond School, he arrives here as a highly credentialed educator with 29 years of exemplary performance. His accolades include Teacher of the Year Award, Renewal Proclamation, Principal of the Year Award, and national certifications. He served as a teacher at Raymond School from 1994 to 2001, and he was well respected by students, colleagues, and families. There have been some things that Ms. Lubinsky has brought up, the HYA report, the investigation, all of which have very, very small sample sizes. Those things that are in the binders that we have before you, with large sample sizes, show that most people really, really appreciate and admire Principal Peterson, just like his last 29 years have shown. You'll see letters of recommendation in this binder, letters of support in this binder, from dozens of members of the community reaching out to support Mr. Peterson. People reaching out even though they feel that their jobs may be threatened because of this, because of certain actions that have been taken. You can't ignore the underlying currents of homophobia. You cannot ignore the statements that people have made. And look at these things in isolation and think that certain things aren't being cherry-picked to make it look like Mr. Peterson's a bad person. He's simply not. We've heard teachers come up bravely and speak on his behalf. Talk about how excellent he is, how great things are when he was here, and how they're slowly deteriorating now. You can see letters in here, social media posts from members of the community. The only sample here, the only survey here with a large sample size is talking about Mr. Garvey and how negative he was being, and how negative his performance was being perceived by the teachers. He still thinks he's a good leader. He still thinks he provided Jeff what he needed to succeed. If he provided Jeff what he needed to succeed, Jeff would succeed here just like he had in the last 29 years of his career. He didn't all of a sudden turn himself on anything. This man is a great principal, he's a great teacher, he deserves to be retained by the school and the community that he lives in. We'll ask all of you to strongly reconsider keeping Mr. Peterson as your principal, because it's what your community wants, it's what the parents want, it's what the teachers want, and it's what's best for the children of the Raymond. Thank you.
Attorneys, the board is going to entertain a motion to go into closed session to deliberate. We have one issue that I need to address, and that is our court reporter would like to go home. Would you be comfortable with us recording as an audio recording the board's decision after they reconvene in open session in order to make the decision, as opposed to retaining the court reporter to simply record the board's decision to the extent there is? I think that's okay. Thank you very much. I didn't want to explain her absence. I made the decision myself. I wanted to make sure I had buy-in. Okay, with that, Audrey?
The board may entertain a motion to convene in closed session pursuant to Wisconsin Statutes 19.85(1)(a) to deliberate concerning a case which was the subject of any judicial or quasi-judicial trial or hearing before that governmental body, or deliberations regarding the administrator contract non-renewal hearing, regardless of whether the administrator requests an open session hearing. Do I have a motion? So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second.
Roll call.
Roll call.
Janelle Weiss.
Yes.
Audrey Krawczyk.
Yes.
Amanda Flashy.
Yes.
Amy Helbig.
Yes.
Wendy Keller, yes.
Okay, thank you very much. You are welcome to leave. Thank you very much for your patience with us and your cooperation. Thank you.
Sit by me, it's okay. Okay. Are we sitting here? Yes. Sit here. I want to sit by that grandmother for magic over there. I mean, she's something.
She can barely contain that smile.
I like that. Tells you something. Oh yeah.
We are now back in open session. Do we have a motion?
I make a motion to issue final notice of non-renewal to Mr. Peterson.
We have a second.
I'll second.
We have a motion, a second, to non-renew Mr. Peterson's contract.
Roll call. Janelle Weiss.
Based on our board goals, specifically related to our commitments to personnel and our community, it is my belief that in order for this district and community to move forward and come together, we are best equipped to do so with new leadership in place. It is also my belief that while Mr. Peterson has many admirable traits, that the gap of perspectives related to his performance and progress being made in these areas, that we will not achieve the objective we have in providing our Raymond students with the best education we can offer. My motion stands.
Audrey Kostich.
I believe this district moving forward needs to have a new beginning. So with that, I vote yes for non-renewal.
And Amanda Falashi.
I am trying to find the best way for this school and community to heal. This is about the students and the family and the staff and the community and everybody here in Raymond. There's a huge divide among all of us right now, and it's an emotional time. For me, I believe there's no way for everyone involved to heal and move forward with either Jeff or Mike in administrative roles at Raymond. My vote is not against Jeff, but for a path forward for this entire community and everyone sitting here.
Yes.
Yes.
Amy Helbig.
Once the board's decision has been made final, I hope we can come together as a community to move forward in a positive direction. As I stated to my fellow board members when we convened to decide to issue preliminary notice of non-renewal, I do not believe Mr. Peterson was given a reasonable expectation to succeed in a performance improvement plan set before him. I am voting against the motion before us.
And Gwen Keller. I like Mr. Peterson as a person. He's been kind to me and both of my children here. However, based on the evidence presented tonight, I agree we need to move forward as a district. I hope the community understands why the board has held many closed session meetings leading up to this point. My emails indicating what I felt represented the people that I represent here have nothing to do with my decision or how I feel about Mr. Peterson. I hope we can all agree it's best for the district to move forward. I vote affirmatively to non-renew and wish you the best.
Yes.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
All in favor? Aye. This meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
It's just unreal.
I didn't think they would.
Yeah, I know. I say that every time.
Okay, guys, so that was the results there. If you would like to sign the recall petitions for Janelle Wise or Glenn Keller, you can reach out to us at the Raymond Community for Truth and Transparency page, or you can reach out at raymondrecall@gmail.com to set up a time for us to bring the petition sheets over to you and you can sign the recall.
Or help out in the effort.
Or help out gathering signatures. We appreciate everyone's help. And unfortunately not the decision we wanted or that Jeff deserved. But we'll continue to move forward.